You're watching It's Your Money. I'm in the studio with Charles Spence with Maine's Bradford Ships and Cheftel, and we're going to talk about family business succession planning. What is that, and how can businesses benefit from it?
Well, typically when I look or think about the concept of family succession business planning, we're looking at perhaps a family that has their own business that's generated income and value for the family over a period of time. Perhaps a married couple, perhaps they've been sharing that wealth with the children and other extended family members. But really, it comes down to, for the business owners that have been kind of growing that business over a period of time, how to get that value out of the business and how to transition the business successfully to a new management team, as well as to transition emotionally out of that business, because that may have really been their life in terms of building it, and their name may be attached to it, so that's their brand. So it has that emotional component as well.
And so I know that, like all other kind of succession planning, estate planning, we should do it sooner rather than later. Why is that?
Well, I think the adage goes, failing to plan is planning to fail. So it's really critical in this area to have a team and to have addressed this issue in advance, because some of the issues, like unexpected issues in life, disability, death, unfortunately just can come on us at times that just we're not prepared for. So really, it's having the team approach, and I know that we've talked a little bit about that before, but really in this area, it's really important, because you have your attorney, you have your CPA that's going to look at the financials, you have perhaps financial advisor, life insurance, or insurance planner in general, professional. You have individuals involved with certified valuations, business brokers. Those all need to be part in working together as a team in advance so you can address the issues.
How do you deal with a family that, you have a son, say, who's been working with you forever, but he's not quite capable of managing the whole thing himself?
Sure.
So would you handle something like that?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, there may be an idea in place, maybe parents, maybe one individual wants to pass that along to the next generation. There have been a lot of studies that without proper planning, most businesses do not transition successfully to the next generation. And then the second generation after that, it's very slim. So it really involves bringing the individual, maybe multiple children and maybe other family members, within the business, observing them, teaching them, mentoring them, trying to understand that their skills may be a little bit different, but perhaps there's no perfect way to kind of manage things. And even if they have a different style, that's okay. But it can be a challenge. And sometimes it's just not the right fit. And that's when you have to look at perhaps key employees, perhaps third parties coming in and buying the business.
Yeah, what about a third party coming in? How do you work that with a family?
Well, it can be tricky. I mean, really, you're looking for the families, they're looking to get the value out of it. And so that's where, in particular, a business broker, identifying particular individuals or other companies within the market that can buy this closely held business, because often it's difficult to value, and that's the other component of it, is that certified valuation. What is the business actually worth, and how is the family going to get that value out of the business?
So it really sounds like you have to look at it as a business deal and not a family deal.
You do. You try to, remove the emotions as much as you can. That's extremely difficult, obviously, and there has to be some understanding that will be in play. But to the extent that you can kind of look at it as a business arrangement, the better off you are.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about business planning and succession?
I think there are a lot of particular moving parts with this. I mean, if you're looking at, children coming on board, how to transition with them, as far as, do you give them equity in advance, or do you find out after you've given them equity, they're minority owners, that's an issue and perhaps you've made a mistake? Do you try to bring them along in certain compensation arrangements to keep them happy, incentivize them, but perhaps not commit yourself until you've had a chance to review that? And that applies equally to key employees as well. So with that, I mean, you're looking at a lot of different compensation agreements, perhaps some types of restricted equity arrangements, buy-sell agreements. If you have other parties, other owners involved, that's a critical agreement to have in place, because it addresses issues as far as the circumstances in which, if someone's stepping out of the business, what triggers that? What triggers the buyout for the other owners? How do they get their value, the departing owner, as well as defining the purchase price and the terms of the purchase.
Well, buyout, I can see, if you're coming into a partnership, you would probably do that at the very beginning. With family, it's a little different because family businesses sort of grow organically. And say you're looking at 5-10 years out that you're going to be ready to retire and get out of the business. Should you have your succession plan in place already and then be willing to address changes in family or structure?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good time frame. Maybe in some cases, if you can start even earlier, it's better. But I know that that's not always the case. One of the key aspects of that is not only putting together the documentation and the financial pieces in advance for the planning, but also how does it impact your estate planning? If you're bringing a child along to the business, if you have other children, how are you going to account for the difference if one child or a couple of children are receiving the business themselves? Are you trying to equalize things in your other documents? How is that addressed? And that can sometimes present a challenge, as you can imagine.
So there's a lot of planning for the end of life, which is really kind of funny. But I really appreciate your time today. And if you'd like to know more about family business succession, contact Charles Spence at mbssllp.com. I'm Deborah Uroda for It's Your Money.